you are amazing. And that's how I start most conversations. I'm sure you are amazing. I used to ask, how are you? And have you noticed that when you ask people now, how are you, you get some really interesting answers. People will tell you that they're angry, they're sick, they've got a sore toe, they've got a headache, they're stressed out about work, they've got financial challenges, they've just had a fight with their partner. And there's a big long list of things that people are happy to tell us that is wrong with them. Now, the challenge I've got with that is I'm a tough, positive, optimistic, solution-finding person, so that doesn't bother me. What's really sad for me to hear people say that on a regular basis is they're hearing it. Because if I ask somebody, how are you, and they tell me, that means they're telling other people how they are too. And now we've got a situation where your own headspace, if you're saying, I'm sick, I'm tired, I'm angry, I hate my job, I hate my boss, I've had a fight with my partner, your own brain is hearing that over and over. And if we constantly put negative stuff into our brain, what's going to happen? There's not too much of a stretch to say if I keep putting negative words into my brain, negative thoughts into my brain, even negative actions into my brain, then I'm going to end up as a negative person. So the only thing that's ever going to come out of my mouth is negative stuff. And why is that important? Well, we live in a world now where there's a lot of negativity, have you noticed? And it seems to be on the increase. It seems that more and more people every day are depressed, angry, anxious, just not happy with the way their life is going or the way the world is going. So what do you want to do about that? I don't know if we can do anything, and this is me being the optimistic solution finder. But I would like our kids to have a different option, wouldn't you? I would really like our kids to know that they can be happy if they choose to be. They can be positive and optimistic if they choose to be. And what is the strategy to making sure that that happens? And as I always share, there's three parts to our choices. Do we get to choose our words? Do we get to choose our thoughts? If we get to choose both of those, they will then control our actions, which means we can control our actions. And if we can control our actions, that means we can control our outcome, doesn't it? And I'll ask that again very personally, and sometimes I feel like I'm begging. If I choose positive words, am I more likely to have positive actions, which means I'm more likely to have positive results? Is that an option? Reverse that. If I put negative words out there, negative thoughts into my head, am I more likely to get a negative action or do negative stuff, which means I'm more likely to get a negative outcome? And I think that's a lesson, that's a strategy of life that our kids might not have been taught or may not be getting taught at school or by their parents. Because most of the people that I come in contact with, and I don't know how your life is going, but every time I ask somebody, how are you? And even people that I would think are positive people, I say, how you doing? Because I don't, and I'll rephrase that because I don't say that. My conversations start like this. Super duper doo, how are you? I'm sure you are amazing. And tell me why you're amazing. And I still get negativity, so I'm not sure what you're getting, because if you say, how are you? Most people, as I shared before, will tell us exactly how they are. And that might be the truth. They might actually be sick, tired, depressed, angry, and stressed about life. But will my words, will me telling other people that I'm feeling stressed, angry, depressed, will that help me or will it make it worse? And I think that's a really important question. If I focus on the negative, will I get a positive outcome? And of course the answer to that's no. If I'm negative, if I'm stressed, if I'm depressed, if I'm angry, and I keep saying that I am, is it possible that I'll just keep getting worse? If I'm searching for, consciously thinking about, how can I change this negative word, thought, into a positive one? And is that a choice? And I have got no doubt that that is a choice. Because every time I say to somebody, super duper doo, how are you? I'm sure you are amazing. That person now has a choice to respond positively or negatively. That's a choice. So if you say to somebody, how are you? They now get to think inside their headspace. What will I say now? Will I say, I'm stressed, I'm angry, I've got a headache, I've got a sore foot, my life is terrible? Or could I choose two things? One is, could I choose to respond positively? And do I want to respond positively so I don't get the reputation of being a person who whines, complains, is miserable all the time? And I think that's really interesting because if I ask you this question, do you want people in your life who whinge, moan and complain all the time? I've never had anybody say to me, Rowie, I wish I had more people in my life who whinge, moan and complain. In fact, it's usually the opposite. Rowie, I wish I had more positive, happy people in my life. And I get that a lot. People say that to me, Rowie, I wish I had more people in my life like you who were positive all the time. Now, I'm going to look at that translation very quickly because it's very important. I am positive all the time. It doesn't mean that positive things happen to me all the time. I have really crappy things happen to me on a regular basis. And I get to choose how I put that information into my brain. So I could say to myself, and I'm very careful even sharing this with you, I could say to myself, I'm tired, I'm stressed, I've got crappy stuff going on in my life, I've got a sore foot, I've got a headache. We all have injuries, we all have challenges, we all have pain, we all have stuff that happens. But my question is always this, if I share that with somebody else, will that add value to their life? And I'm absolutely positive, again, that the answer is no. Me sharing my crap with other people is not going to add value to their life. Never will. But worse than that, and very selfishly, if I repeat what's going on in my life and I hear it again, so if I keep hearing, I'm miserable, I've got a sore foot, I've got a headache, I'm stressed, these terrible things happened, if I keep saying that to myself, what happens to my own headspace? And my strategy for that, and I'm asking you very, again, I'll say I'm probably begging, because I want our kids to know that they do have an option, so that when they grow up to be adults, they get to choose whether they say, I'm terrible, I'm sick, I'm depressed, I'm angry, don't add any value to the world and don't add any value to their own headspace. Or they get to choose that because they know they have an option. They don't have to tell everybody, I've got a headache. They can actually suck it up and say, okay, I've got a headache, but me sharing with another person that I've got a headache, will that add value to that other person's life? I was taught a very long time ago, and I'm so privileged for this piece of information. Rowie, only share your challenges with the people that can provide you with a solution. And be respectful of the people that can provide you with a solution. Meaning, if you've got financial challenges, talk to a financial planner and pay them. If you've got a medical challenge, share it with a medical professional and pay them. If you've got some kind of depression or anxiety, or you don't feel happy, or something's going on in your life, then talk to the people who have the medical training to help you with that and pay them for it. Because if you share stuff with people that can't help you, and I'm not asking you not to do this, I just say this to myself. If I share my medical challenges with somebody that isn't a medical professional, they can't help me. They might be even annoyed that they can't help me because they want to, and I'm not adding any value to their life. And I use this as a bit of a joke, but if I've got a challenge with my car, I don't go to the chemist and say, excuse me, Mr. Pharmacy person, I have a car that's broken, could you please fix it? The pharmacy person would say to me, go to a mechanic, Rowie, they're the people that fix cars. If I've got a financial challenge and I say to my plumber, mate, I've got a financial challenge, can you help me out? The plumber's going to say, Rowie, go talk to a financial planner or a bank manager or a loans person or a mortgage broker. I can't help you with your finances. I'm a plumber. If you've got challenges with your plumbing, talk to a plumber. Isn't that clever? And I'm sounding a little bit sarcastic, and I've got to be very careful because I've made a commitment in my life to be a positive person regardless of the weather, of the financial situation in the world, of whatever the government's doing, whatever nasty negative people do. In fact, I've gone a step further than that. The more negative other people become, the more positive I want to be, because I really want our world to know, and I really want our kids to know that they don't have to have constant negativity bombarded into their life. So, as I shared, I don't say, how are you? Because that gives somebody an opportunity to say negative things to me. So I say, super-duper-doo, how are you? I'm sure you are amazing. And if I go through the supermarket checkout, or I go to the petrol station, or any shops, or anytime I come in contact with somebody, I put the positive out there so that at least there's hope that I get a positive response. So I might say something like, give me the 10 reasons why you're amazing today, or what's been the highlight of this fantastic day of yours, or what makes you amazing and spectacular today. And often if I do that at the supermarket, you can hear people's brain, they're ticking over going, lunatic at checkout 7, how come you're so happy? And that gives me a great opportunity to share. I'm really happy because I live in a beautiful country. I live in a country that's got democracy. I can eat as much food as I want to, and I just use that as an interesting example because a lot of people whinge and moan to me about, I wish I could lose weight, or I'm too overweight, or I don't like the shape of my body. And I always say, isn't that awesome? You live in a country where you get to choose how much food you eat. There are people who'd love to be overweight. They can't be because they haven't got enough food. So isn't that awesome that we're overweight? Rowie, it's cloudy today. Yes, isn't that fantastic? Number 1, the sun is always shining above the clouds. Number 2, this is not a cloudy day, this is a platinum day. Number 3, if we didn't get free water out of the sky, we wouldn't get green grass. So we need to have free water out of the sky. And I don't have any green grass around here, so I'm very thankful that we get water here because it means I can have a shower. How about you? I like to have water because it means I can have a shower. They're the things that I always turn into a positive. People say, Rowie, what about the traffic? And it's so funny because I've lived in some of the busiest cities in the world. I've lived in LA, I've lived in London, I've lived in Sydney, I've lived in Brisbane, I've lived in Auckland, all cities where there's a stack of traffic. And then for 18 months I lived in Queenstown in the South Island of New Zealand, where now people are really whinging and moaning and complaining about the traffic. And I always have a giggle because even in the busiest city in the world, like perhaps LA, if they complain about the traffic, people from India will probably say, you don't know traffic, you haven't seen Indian traffic. See, we always try and up each other on the challenges. Why don't we up each other on the positivity? My life is amazing, how about yours? Versus my life is terrible, how about yours? And have you noticed that you can get people together and they get into a whinge pity party? My life's worse than yours and here's all the reasons why. I know my life's worse than yours and here's all the reasons why. And I just think that's a complete waste of time. How about you? I'm giving you the challenge. Romax is all about positivity, obviously. I'm here every day. People say to me, Rowie, how can you be happy every day? Well, it's really easy. Get fit and get strong. And if you feel unhappy, if you feel depressed, if you feel anxious, go get puffed. That is not a simple philosophy that I've just pulled out of my backside. That is physiology on our side. When you get puffed, when you lift heavy or a combination of both, your brain changes. You fill up your brain with all of the stuff that people are taking to try and feel happy. So the neurotransmitters of dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, brain-derived neurotropic factor, endorphins, they all get pumped through your brain when you get puffed and when you lift heavy, and even better when you do a combination of both. So do I need to take antidepressants? Of course not, because I fill my head up with the ultimate antidepressant, which is dopamine, serotonin, brain-derived neurotropic factor, and that happens when I get puffed and when I lift heavy. So I'll rephrase again. It's not that I don't have bad days. It's not that terrible things don't happen to me. It's not that I don't wake up sometimes feeling miserable or feeling grumpy or feeling angry. But guess what? That only lasts for a bee's willy of time. And if you know anything about bee's willies, they're only very little. Because anytime I feel any kind of anything that isn't super happy, I go get puffed. And I use this all the time, and people think, oh, Rowie, it can't be that easy. I just get puffed 4 puffs an hour, 4 puffs an hour. I literally, for 10 seconds, every 15 minutes, I go and get puffed. Cross-trainer, box the bag, run up the driveway, run through some soft sand, do something every 15 minutes for 10 seconds, not an hour, not 15 minutes. 10 seconds. So there's no excuse not to. But what happens when I get puffed for 10 seconds, when I do push-ups or jump squats for 10 seconds, when I box the bag for 10 seconds, I fill my brain up with antidepressant neurotransmitters. Antidepressant, can't be unhappy. And I even hate the word antidepressant because anti is negative and depressant is negative. I just fill up my brain with happy neurotransmitters so I feel good. You can do it too. I can be happy every day. Can you be? I can choose the words that I use. Can you? It's pretty simple, isn't it? I get to choose how I respond to everything. And I choose not to use negative words. I choose not to tell people if I've got crap going on in my life. I choose to get tough and strong and wiser and better every day so that when a challenge does come into my life, if I can't handle it, I've got a brain that can go and search out the right person to help me with that challenge, not dump my crap onto other people. And again, this is just my choice. But I'm asking you, please consider, if you are a parent, a teacher, a coach, a boss, a leader, do our kids know that that is an option? Or are we growing kids into a world where it's perfectly normal to dump their crap onto other people and to expect other people to fix things for them? We talk about resilience, we talk about mental toughness, we talk about wanting our kids to take responsibility and to be great adults. But how are they going to do that if we don't set the example? So I'm doing it every day consciously, not subconsciously, because I don't want to be it'll just happen naturally. I'm consciously thinking before stuff comes out of my mouth, how can I turn whatever I'm going to say into the most positive thing possible rather than dumping negative words? And I'll ask again, I get to choose my words, don't you? I get to choose my thoughts. I can't think negative thoughts because if I start thinking negatively, I consciously change my thought pattern to think positively. So I get to choose my words, I get to choose my thoughts. That has a more positive effect on my outcome and my results. You too? Yeah? How about we think about everything that comes out of our mouth? Every time we think something negative, could we change it to a positive? And then are we more likely to be the living example for our kids that you don't have to live in a world where negativity has become normal? And this is one of my favourite quotes in my philosophy for life. Bad stuff will always happen. Bad people will always do bad stuff. But the world will only become a bad place when good people do nothing. And I want to be one of the good people that makes changes, positive changes in everything that comes into my life so that I can have a positive effect on my world. How about you? I feel good. No. I knew that I would because I get to choose my words, I get to choose my thoughts, I get to choose my outcomes, and I get to choose my results. How about you? Thank you for coming to Romax. And may you live your life to the max because you choose to add positivity into your world too. Woohoo! I feel good. No. I knew that I would now. Yeah.